in my domain. Got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane. It's over before you know it. While you shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here as we get ready for the penultimate race of Season 2 of the NNSCRA TaxSlayer Truck Series. We are getting set here today for 30 laps of racing at Homestead-Miami Speedway. More importantly, we are going to determine which 4 drivers move on from the round of 6 to compete next week for this season's TaxSlayer Truck Series Championship. 6 drivers still have a shot. Right now, coming into this race, it seems cut and dry as to who the final 4 drivers will be. But as we know in the NNSCRA, nothing is cut and dry until the checkered flag waves. Let's give you the scenario coming into this one. We won't give you your point standings once the engines are fired, because we're going to go a little in depth here real quickly at what the point scenario looks like coming into this one. So right now, your points leader is Tony Green. He's only 5 points ahead of Heather Gallant, only 6 points ahead of Nick Johnson, and only 8 points ahead of Ace Garcia. Right now, the odds are in favor of that being the final 4 drivers to compete at Auto Club. The reason being, 5th in the points Nathan Stapleton, 6th in the points Patrick Curtis. They are 28 and 29 points behind the points leader Tony Green respectively. Right now, based on the fact that they are that far back, and this is the last race before we determine the final 4, I would honestly say they are in a must-win situation. I just don't see the odds in favor of them being able to race their way in, with the possible exception that Green, Gallant, Johnson, or Garcia finish down 38th, 39th, maybe down to 42nd in this race, and one of those 2 able to come away with a decent finish here today. It is possible, but one of those 4 drivers, Green, Gallant, Johnson, and Garcia, need to have a horrible day, and the problem has to hit them early in this race. So there's still a shot for Stapleton and Curtis to get themselves into the final 4, but the odds are not really in favor of it. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here at Homestead. Now, both those drivers, Nathan Stapleton and Patrick Curtis, are starting decently. Gray, the best of the both, as he's going to start in the 3rd position. Stapleton is going to be starting back, it looks like 18th place, so we'll see if he can make his way towards the front. We've got some other playoff contenders, though. They're up here near the front. Nick Johnson rolling off from the 5th position, as the front row will be comprised of Nicholas Rail, still looking for his first win of the season, a 2-time winner last year, and Melody Baker in the 3, who almost made it into the playoffs but just couldn't find victory lane.
Your engines!
Command is given to fire them up, though, and as we prepare for 30 laps of racing, we've already given you your point standings coming into this race, so we're not going to bother to go back and look at and give you the overview, because we kind of went in depth. You can look down in the description below to see where everyone is starting this race, including your 6 current playoff contenders. And bear in mind, there are 36 other drivers in this field that would love to be able to go to victory lane as well. We've only run Homestead one other time here in the TaxSlayer Truck Series, and the defending winner of this race, Eli Bright. He's not in this field. We'll see him in tomorrow's Pizza Hut X Series race. Eli Bright finished out the last 2 races of the TaxSlayer Truck Series season last year with trips to victory lane here at Homestead, and the following week at Auto Club. TaxSlayer Truck Series drivers, only 2 races here in this second round. finishing it off here at Homestead. This is based off of where they all finished at the first race of the second round at Madrid. They've made their beds. Now we have to see if they're going to lie in them. Nicholas Rail, in his first season for Kyle Busch Motorsports, trying to find victory lane for what will be the third time in his TaxSlayer Truck Series career, and first of the season. Last year drove an underfunded number 94 to 2 victories. He will lead them down here to the green flag. Who's going to be in the final four at Auto Club? We're about to find out. Green flags in the air at Homestead. Let's roll. Already 3 wide at the front. Patrick Curtis realizes how important it is for him to get to the race lead. Started third, wants to be P1 by the time they get back to the start-finish line. He's got the defending champion Nick Johnson in tow. Whoa, almost a contact there between Johnson and Rail. They keep off each other though. First lap is going to be led by, was it Baker or was it Curtis? Ticker says it was Curtis. So a very valuable bonus point for Patrick Curtis, but the caution flag is out. Caution out on lap number 2. A very early caution, and now the question is, did it involve any of our playoff drivers? This is what Curtis and Stapleton are hoping for, is that one of the drivers that are in the final 4 spots right now has a problem, and DNF's early. Have to see if any of them were involved. Garcia is up here near the front along with Nick Johnson. Doesn't look like either of them were involved. I'm trying to find Heather Gallant and Tony Green. I don't see either one of them. We'll have to see if either one of them got through whatever the wreck was. You saw the smoke lingering there into turn 1. So Patrick Curtis will lead us under our first caution of the day. Looks like Austin LaPlante got involved in whatever the incident was. And Tony Green's at the rear of the field there in the Ford truck, trying to see if there's any visible damage on his Toyota Tundra. I don't really see any, at least on the front and left side. Don't know what the right side looks like. And it doesn't look like we're going to get a good enough camera angle to be able to find out. I guess the best way we're going to know if he got any significant damage, or if he was even involved in the wreck, is to go back and look at a replay. So let's do that right now as Patrick Curtis shows the way here at Homestead. This was right at the rear of the field, too. Just some miscommunication there between Austin LaPlante and Tony Green. LaPlante goes up and squeezes Green into the wall. Little contact there as well for Paul Minnick. Now, the replay may not have started when it really should have. It looked like a little bit before we started the replay, there might have been a little contact between Paul Minnick and Austin LaPlante from Minnick's right front to LaPlante's right rear. That might have shot him up the track a little, and while he was trying to save it, he then got up into Tony Green. So Tony Green did get sandwiched into the wall. Don't know how extensive the damage is on his race car, but, I mean, like we said, he's got to at least just try and finish out the race as best he can to try and keep his chances of making it into the Final Four alive. But with the damage he may have sustained, it may slow him up. We'll have to find out. But Patrick Curtis knows the situation. He's showing the way here at Homestead, and we're going back now for the restart. Nobody out of the race after that wreck. Tony Green, Austin LaPlante never even came to pit road. Nobody came to pit road, which tells me we're on one of 3 scenarios. Either 1, these drivers came into this race knowing they could make it 30 laps on fuel, and so that's not a concern. Number 2, these drivers are not yet in their fuel window to have to be able to pit, to be able to make it on fuel. Or 3, they were going to be close, and this caution gave them the opportunity to be able to clutch and save enough fuel to make it the rest of the way. So one of those 3 scenarios, not sure what it is, but I think for Patrick Curtis, he had to stay out anyway. Like we said, he's in a technically must-win situation coming into this race to make it into the Final Four. He does not want to give up the race lead in that valuable track position to try coming to pit lane, and fortunately for him, nobody else decided to come to pit road either. So it'll be Curtis with the lead, Melody Baker in second. Melody's looking for her first win of the season. Of course, her best finish was second behind her teammate Easton Barber back at Daytona. Nicholas Rail, the pole sitter's third. Nick Johnson fourth. Wyatt Walker fifth. Then it's Matt Haas, Alexander Rowe, Caitlin Sang, Easton Barber, and Oriole Pollard, your top 10. There'll be a single file restart. Green flag back in the air. Couple drivers peeking out of line. First one's going to do anything about it is Matt Haas, back in the 6th position, going for 5th on Wyatt Walker, and Melody Baker drives it deep into the corner for the race lead on Patrick Curtis. You see Nick Johnson there in the 41. Now you're probably wondering, why would Nick Johnson want to try winning this race when a good finish will get him into the Final Four at Auto Club anyway? If Nick Johnson wins this race, if any of those 6 playoff contenders win this race, they get 3 extra bonus points heading into the season finale, which could be a huge advantage for them to be able to try and win the championship. Look there, you got a former Truck Series champion and a former Hershey's Cup Series champion lined up nose to tail. Nick Johnson in the 41, Matt Haas in the 8. Now we saw Patrick Curtis out in front. He's right now holding the 4th position. What about the other driver that comes into the critical position in points, trying to race his way into the Final Four? Nathan Stapleton. There he is, just outside the top 15 it looks like. He's gotten himself to the inside line, battling side by side right now with fellow playoff contender Ace Garcia. He was crossed the line last time in the 17th position, trying to make some forward progress in that 92. Up front, 3 wide. Well, it was 3 wide. Matt Haas took a peek, put Nick Johnson in the middle. Johnson, though, holds the spot, and Matt Haas now tries to get up the outside line, which seems to be getting some good momentum. The outside line is holding its own against the inside line as Melody Baker still holds the top spot against Nick Johnson. She might have him cleared down here into 3. Oh, she tried to move down, but Johnson was still to her left rear quarter panel as now Patrick Curtis gets moved up the outside 3 wide. Not the situation he wants to be in. However, we saw Tony Green was quite a ways back after getting involved in that first caution. If Patrick Curtis can finish 30 positions ahead of Tony Green, then Green is out and Curtis is in. Let's see what progress has been made by the 4 truck. Well, as soon as I wanted to, we got a good battle up here at the front again. That's Caitlin Sang in the 37 on the inside, putting Johnson in the middle. Baker way up topside. Settles out at least for the moment. Now back to Johnson and Baker battling the spot, but they're 3 wide behind him. Let's see if Tony Green's made any progress. He's still at the very tail end of the field right now in the 41st position. LaPlante is off the pace in 42nd. Tony Green needs to pick up spots here, or he needs to hope that Patrick Curtis loses spots. And right now, Curtis is kind of fading back as he's up on that outside line. Oh, contact there between Oriel Pollard and Nicholas Rail as they were almost 4 wide there through turns 3 and 4. This was almost like watching a super speedway race. Neither lane's getting an advantage. Inside line Nick Johnson, outside line Melody Baker. One leads a lap, the other one leads a lap. Nobody seems to be able to get a clear advantage. Now we've got a new player. 3 wide. It's a Michael Miller Motorsports sandwich for Nick Johnson. Barber to the left, Baker to the outside. It looked like the 33 got tight on the inside line off of turn 4. Had to lift a little bit. That outside line continues to get the best momentum off the corner. Baker led that lap, but Johnson battles back to the inside once again. I'm telling you what, if this is any look of what it's going to be for a Hershey's Cup Series race, every position in qualifying is going to be a big, big deal. Barber tries again, this time in 3 and 4 for the 3 wide position, and he kept his foot in the throttle that time, didn't have to lift. But Melody Baker's going to clear both of them, it looks like. She'll hold on to the top spot. Maybe a little bit of I help you, you help me. Remember, Baker helped push Easton Barber to a win. Pollard saved it with Patrick Smith. They were 4 wide. They save it. Oh, Lordy. Still 4 wide. Oh, give room, give room, give room. Oh, there they go. Pollard, Rail, Haas into the wall. This is going to be a big one. Curtis is involved. And they're still wrecking. Oh, boy. Big one out of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. And the second caution of the day comes out just past the halfway point. They were 4 wide at Homestead. And the end of Patrick Curtis's journey may have just been right there, as there was a lot of damage on his 0 But the question is, who else was caught up in that wreck? Baker waiting for the pace car to pick her up here in turns 3 and 4. And that's one of the Cody Smart Motorsports cars on pit road. Looks like the 29 of Isaac Nichols. Preston Plord, the KFC Fusion, or I'm not Fusion, F-Series involved. There's one of the 3 I saw first get involved. The 8 of Matt Haas, someone's smoking up there. That's either the 83, oh no, that's the 0. The 0 of Patrick Curtis, his day's done. Michael Haas with damage on his 28, 51 of Ace Garcia, looks like he's okay. Henry Williams, Jack Lagacy, Joseph Romero on pit road. Tony Green in the 4 is coming to pit road, along with the 39 of Oreo Pollard. Question is, can Green continue? Because if Green DNFs, then all the pressure's on the 92 of Nathan Stapleton, and Green is out. Now, is Stapleton still in? Yes, he is. Stapleton came into this race 28 points behind Tony Green. He needs to finish 29 positions ahead of Green. We'll come back in a moment, find out where Green officially is going to finish this race with a DNF. But for now, let's look at a replay of what brought out the caution and could very well be a caution that may knock one driver out of the Final Four and move one driver in. Only time will tell. It's Michael Norman Motorsports teammates out in front. Kind of a reverse from Daytona. It's Baker first, Barber second. Let's look at the replay. This was all up at the front of the field. They had saved nearly wrecking. Oreo Pollard and Patrick Smith did in a 4-wide situation, and then they got back into another 4-wide situation, and there you see it. I don't know if Pollard crowded Nicholas Rail or if Rail came down to Pollard, but whatever the case, Matt Haas had nowhere to go. There's Rail getting involved. And then let's see how I think that is that Tristan Allen? Pushed Patrick Curtis up into the wall. There's Preston Plord, there's Romero. Heather Gallant in the 43 got a piece of it. She may have gone down and actually hit the inside retaining wall as well. That's another playoff driver. So we'll have to find out if she continues. There's Jake Moss. He gets hit by, I think that was Jack Lagacy. There's the shot into Tony Green. He spins down towards the inside wall. Ace Garcia there, that yellow truck in the middle. He made some contact with Preston Plord. Thought the 62 of Henry Williams came to pit road. Oh, that's why. Right there. He's going to get into this 24 of Jake Moss. Michael Haas jacks up the back of Preston Plord. And watch that black car on the inside line there. Michael Haas, as well as the 19 of Jake Smith. I misidentified the Cody Smart Motorsports car. It was actually Smith, not Nichols. There's the contact they made. Now, where does Michael Haas come into all of this? I guess he got damaged from earlier on. All right, let's focus. Let's go back real quick and focus 2 of our playoff contenders and see how bad their damage was. First, looking at the 4 of Tony Green. He's going to, I think, hit the 24. Or the 24 actually kind of hits him. Spins it down and hits hard into that safer barrier on the inside. I don't know how that was enough to send him behind the wall, but apparently it was. Now, what about the 43 of Heather Gallant? Okay, there she is. She may have actually saved it. She headed down towards the inside wall. I don't know if she necessarily hits it. Okay, let's watch this. Contact's going to be between her and I think the 69 of Plord. Right there. Gets into Plord with the right front. Car directs down towards the inside wall. She jerks the car back to the right. Does she hit the wall? No, she does not. Nice save. Now, there is damage, obviously, on the right front, but the fact that Tony Green is out of the race may end up saving her hopes of making it into the Final Four. All the pressure now is on one driver, and that's Nathan Stapleton in the 92. Let's go back for the restart. Green flag set to come back out. We'll have 11 laps to go. Melody Baker showing the way, and now I'm pretty certain if these drivers were close on fuel, they'll have been able to save enough now with our second set of pacing laps. Out of the race as we prepare for the green to come back out. Patrick Curtis, 31st. His playoff hopes dashed. Also, Joseph Romero, Jack Lagacy, Matt Haas. I just drew a blank who the 21 car was. Paul Minnick. Henry Williams, Jake Smith, Michael Haas, Preston Plord. 40th is where Tony Green will finish out the day with Oriole Pollard and Jake Moss also out of the race. We've got a lead change here. Easton Barber getting around Melody Baker, his teammate. So the pressure is on Nathan Stapleton. If Stapleton can finish in 11th or better, Stapleton is into the Final Four. Tony Green is out. Stapleton, last time by, was scored in 11th. He's on the inside line trying to pick up spots here. Can Nathan Stapleton do it? He was 28 points behind Tony Green. He needs to finish 29 positions ahead. 40 minus 29 is 11. And Stapleton, if he can finish in the top 10, he will be going to the Final Four at Auto Club. Meanwhile, up front, Caitlin Sang took a turn out in front. Lead's getting swapped around quite a bit here now in the closing stages as Patrick Smith takes a turn after that tremendous save he and Oriole Pollard had just before that last caution. And Patrick Smith was on the inside line of the four-wide situation into four, so he was able to get by the wreck. Now he finds himself out in front, leading the way here at Homestead with Isaac Nichols behind him, along with the 88 of Jonathan Zorlin. Nichols and Zorlin, both former winners last year in the TaxSlayer Truck Series, but both looking for their first wins of this season. Patrick Smith with a nice run on the top side, though, is going to hang on to the top position for the moment. Stapleton crossed the line last time in 10th, now drops back. He's now back again in 11th. He cannot finish 12th. 12th won't cut it. He's got to be 11th or better. Up front, though, it's Patrick Smith, Caitlin Sang, Isaac Nichols, Jonathan Zorlin, some names we haven't heard in relation to trips to victory lane in a long, long time. Sounds like we got a slow car up ahead we may have to deal with. That's the 51 of Ace Garcia, who appears to be off the pace. Don't know if he's on the lead lap or not. Yes, he is. Last car on the lead lap in 30th position, just trying to ride around and preserve his spot in the Final Four. Heather Gallant right now is running in the 20th position, so it looks like she's in good shape. And Nick Johnson is up inside the top 10 here as they just caught Garcia in a horrible spot on the racetrack. As a matter of fact, I think one of the cars that's going to get held up by him is the 92 of Nathan Stapleton. He's caught on that outside line. He's losing positions hand over fist. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That's a teammate. The 51's a teammate to Tony Green. He's trying to do everything he can to help his teammate Green make it into the Final Four by taking Stapleton out of the equation and holding him up on that outside line. That right there may have iced it. That may have just hurt the chances of Tony Green making it into the Final Four, and he has the 51 of Ace Garcia to thank for it. Nick Johnson not too happy he got held up either, although Johnson right now, points-wise, would make it into the Final Four. I'm surprised the 92 didn't wreck the 51 right there. He has got to be absolutely frustrated. Garcia doing what he could for his teammate Tony Green. Green, who's out of the race in 40th with that move, compliments of the 51, may still be going to Auto Club to compete for the championship. Increases the odds of a Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota winning the championship with both Garcia and Green in the Final Four. But wow, how about that? Boy, I would love to be a fly on the wall of the 92 Hall when this is all over. Meanwhile, up front, Patrick Smith trying to hold off Isaac Nichols. Smith is looking for what would be his first win of the season and first of his TaxSlayer Truck Series career. Nichols was a former winner last season, trying to get his second win of his career and first win of the season as well. Baker is also looking for her first win. Sky Commons looking for his second. Zorlin looking for his first. There'll be 2 to go this time by. Stapleton, who was up 9th, 10th, 11th on that restart, now is all the way back to the 23rd position. The odds of him making up 11, 12 spots in 2 laps are very, very slim, as passing's been very difficult for drivers all day. Now Baker the inside for second on Nichols. That may ice the win for Smith, but Nichols battles back topside, holds on to the spot. White flag in the air, 1 more lap to go here at Homestead. Can Patrick Smith close the deal? Nichols about a car length behind in second, but he hasn't been able to really close up the gap between himself and Smith. But they're catching that 51 of Ace Garcia again. And they might catch him before the start-finish line. They're going to. Look out! They make to the inside, but look at Nichols. Nichols gets to the left rear quarter panel. Tries to get him off the corner. Drag race to the line. Smith, Nichols, give it to Smith on the outside as they're wrecking coming to the start-finish line. Hillary Sanchez wrecked coming to the start-finish line. And I think the race did not end under caution. I think the leaders hit the line before the wreck happened. But still, the end result, Patrick Smith will pick up his first career TaxSlayer Truck Series victory here at Homestead. It's the first win of the season for Flying Aces Racing. And Hillary Sanchez, I don't know what position she was running in. I think she was inside the top 10, but she will not finish in the top 10. As 73 is not listed on the scoring pylon anywhere in the top 10 positions. Boy, that 51 played a factor in more ways than one. It was a factor for Nathan Stapleton not making it into the Final Four, and at the closing stages was almost a factor into Patrick Smith maybe not closing out the deal. But the finishing results are, I think, official now. And they are indeed. Hillary Sanchez, crossed the line in the 13th position. It's actually... real quickly, go back and just see what happened there. I don't know if this was in regards to that slow 51 or not. But it could have very well cost Hillary Sanchez a top 10 finish, which would have put both of the WF9 racing cars in the top 10. Let's see this coming off of turn 4. Yeah, everybody's trying to get around the 51. Yeah, Hillary Sanchez was running around the 9th position at the time. Ooh, some contact there between Marty Zakala and Sky Commons, puts Commons up into the wall with Ace Garcia, and then he comes back down off the wall, collects up Hillary Sanchez in the 73, Alex Hawkins in the 70 of Brandon Joy, PJ Williams into the wall, along with Tyler Deaver, and everyone just kept their foot in it trying to get to the line, and I believe Hawkins on that inside line just was able to sneak the last top 10 available spot. But our final four have basically been determined. It's the four coming into this race that we thought were going to be the final four, and it ends up being the end result. But we almost had someone sneak in, but obviously if you watch the race, you know what happened in that regard. So Smith with the win, Nichols second, Baker third, Zorlin fourth, Barber in fifth, Zakala will get sixth, seventh for Caitlin Sang, Angela Alvera stole a top 10 in eighth, same for Zach Winkle in ninth, and Alex Hawkins will finish in 10th place. Those drivers you saw get involved in the wreck there. Williams gets 11th, Deaver in 12th, Sanchez 13th, Commons 14th, and Joy in 15th place. Highest finishing playoff driver was actually Heather Gallant in 18th place. 20th was Nick Johnson. Stapleton there in 21st. Had to finish in 11th or better. It did not happen. Now, the only question I have is where did he finish in relation to Ace Garcia? Stapleton and Garcia were separated by 20 points. Stapleton finishes in 21st. He would have needed Ace Garcia to finish in 41st or worse. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, in 41st or worst, and Garcia finished in 30th. So Garcia still managed to get in. But, boy, that is a tough break for Stapleton. So close. It was right on the borderline of being able to make it in. Garcia finishes in 30th, and out of the race was Tony Green, but thanks to the aid of his teammate Ace Garcia, Green with a 40th place finish will still make it into the Final Four to compete for the championship, and Patrick Curtis finished out of the race 31st. That ended his chances of getting into the Final Four. So the drivers that will compete for the championship, Nick Johnson, defending champion in the Final Four for the second straight season. He'll face off against Heather Gallant and Joe Gibbs Racing teammates Tony Green and Ace Garcia at Auto Club. Can Nick Johnson go 2 for 2 in winning championships in his 2 TaxSlayer Truck Series seasons, or will we see a new driver take the championship trophy? You'll have to find out next week at Auto Club. We finish out this weekend, though, here at Homestead-Miami. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here with Patrick Smith taking his first career win. in the TaxSlayer Truck Series at Homestead-Miami Speedway. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We have shown you full finish results. These are your rookie point stands, your overall point stands, and your playoff points. The 4 drivers highlighted in yellow are the final 4 to compete for the championship next week. Next, we've got the Pizza Deck Series race here from Homestead, followed by the Hershey's Cup Series Homestead race, determining the final 4 for those 2 series as well. Then next week, all 3 series determine their champions in the championship finales at Auto Club. Till then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. The championship, the final 4, have been determined.